It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
All right, we're all the way live this Monday morning, and thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Brodner, co-founder of Hood Research, and I'm excited because this year is the 25th birthday of Hood Research, and we are planning a gala which will take place July 30th. There will be more information forthcoming. I thank you all for tuning in. And my co-host?
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
You know, over this past weekend, as often, I met some new folk in the community. I had a chance to hear Gretchen Whitmer this weekend, and that was interesting. She's considering, I guess, running for a governor. I guess it's going to be a, some folks say, an uphill battle against Feiger and Mark Bernstein. But hey, let the games begin. I want to say good morning to Vera, and also to Clementine. I haven't talked to her recently, but Dee Dee coming along good. I hope we hear from her this morning as well. And good morning to Ron and Jay, and to Tom and Les, and to Barbara. Barbara, hopefully still coming along good. And, who did you come across over this weekend? I'm sure I'm missing some names.
Well, I want to say a shout out to our brother Errol Griffin, because he's definitely a supporter of Hood Research, and we want to ask all of you who want to support this program and who appreciate it to send your donations to P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204 for Hood Research. Also, you can make it out to WHPR, but we want to contribute it to this show, and we hope that this show has satisfied many of your needs. And I want to give a shout out to Brother Akeem. He's a young brother who goes to different schools and different venues like Don Bosco Hall to try to educate young brothers on positive rap, and hopefully one day we'll have him on the program as well, because that is the generation. He's in his 20s. That is the generation that will kind of take the baton from us and move it forward. And I want to say that there are a lot of young soldiers, male and female, out there who are doing that. And then my regular people, Cheryl D., Sister Jackie, over there in Northwest Detroit, Ruth Ann, we appreciate you, Brother Smith Bay, Brother Fred, Sheila R. over there off of Chicago. You know who you are. And as I always say, have your friends, neighbors, family, co-workers, relatives tune in and have pen and paper handy for information that may be valuable to you.
And I got to say good morning to Diane and to Claire as well. You know, some interesting things have been going on. Some weird things have been going on. In Lansing, the legislators want to repeal the switchblade law, and what it was, something else crazy they wanted to do. Repeal the law so that you can hunt frogs with flashlights and spear guns. Just weird stuff. And something else to top it all. And we want to hear what you think about it. You know, last week, after the police commission meeting, Edgar Van from was the Second Ebenezer Church was leaving, and he got to Larned and Woodward, and a cop started with the loudspeaker, pull over, you know. So he pulls over, and the cop gets out of the car, takes out his gun, and tells him, roll down the windows, get your keys, put them on the hood of the car, and all of that. And so he did that, complied, etc. Now, mind you, Bishop Edgar Van was dressed in professional attire, had on his suit, and I'm sure his vehicle was shiny and clean and everything. The cop didn't give a rat's ass about any of that. He saw a black man get out the car, okay, and he presented the papers necessary, driver's license, he says, insurance, etc., registration, all of that. He got tickets anyway. I think it's kind of interesting. What'd you say?
I would just add that he said that the police officer's finger was on the trigger, which I've gone through the training, CPL, and you're not supposed to have your finger on the trigger. You keep it to the side so that there's no chance of just accidentally pulling the trigger. So that was discomforting to hear, as well as the fact that he said he provided insurance information, yet he was still given a ticket for having insurance, which is
No
crazy.
insurance. Oh,
Yes,
wow.
we do have a caller as well.
Oh, okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? You're on the air, caller.
Well, anyway, in the meantime, I thought that it was kind of kind of suspicious to me, and also that the equipment was not working on his car and all, with the cameras. I attend the police commission meetings rather regularly, and I have brought this up that the equipment should be checked prior to the officer leaving the precinct. And I talk about the cameras in particular because I pressed them for body cameras. They have already agreed that they need the body cameras, but it seems to me that the mayor and the police chief are dragging their butts on getting them installed.
I wasn't happy with the fact that the chief, Craig, did not acknowledge it in the way that he should have. He just kind of summarily dismissed the fact that it wasn't working. But I was sharing with Theo on the way in that when I worked for the post office, one of the things when I drove a truck, we had a checklist to make sure that everything worked before you hit the street. And this may be something that citizens need to press. First, you need to be at the police commissioner's meeting. That's number one. And then second, be aware of the things that the police commission does and the different ideas that you can present to them. So I think that Chief Craig should make sure that any vehicle that leaves, you check tires, you check oil, you check the things to make sure that it functions before it hits the road. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, there's the idea of intentionally making sure it doesn't work or cover up.
Yes, exactly. And if it does not work after that, then the officer needs to be reprimanded in some way. He can even be suspended. It is vitally important that if you have cameras, and they do on the vehicles, that they be in operating conditions 24/7.
And that's for the benefit of both. We have a couple of callers who want to get in the conversation. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Okay, I have to. All right, what's the topic you guys are talking about? Because I was trying to listen first before.
Oh, we
came
are
on.
talking about the police stop of the police commissioner van last week when he left the police commission meeting. He was on Woodward and Larned by the city county building, now known as the Coleman Young Municipal Center. He was stopped by a police officer. He was given a ticket. The cop didn't even know who he was. And even if they have pictures hanging in the police precinct,
Mhm.
the cop, well, I hear the cop was white. If that's the case, he probably thought it was a wanted poster. Have you heard about that?
No, no. This is how you doing, Theo? This is Michael out
Oh,
of
hi. Oh, I'm
Connecticut.
doing fine. What's the latest you got going on out there in Connecticut?
Well, we just had a visit from Cory Booker,
Okay.
and he's trying to. He stated that there's not enough passion in the Democratic Party, and people need to basically get more involved.
Mm.
My thing is, I didn't go to the speech, so I can't critique it, but
Mhm.
based on what I heard, he should have been trying to get volunteers to go to the states that the Democrats lost in the Senate, to go to Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, get volunteers to lead their state to strengthen those areas that the Republicans are dominated through redistricting, situation. Connecticut is a blue city state. You're always going to get a Democrat in office. So we don't need any speeches here. We need to get liberals from this state to go to other states to mobilize
All right.
for the 2018 election.
Yeah. I agree with that because you know that out of the 50 states in America, 33 states have Republican governors. And
Right.
if the governors are doing in other states what Snyder is doing in the state of Michigan, they need to get energized. That should be enough to energize them right there. Jeez.
And the two other things that's major and that's happening in Connecticut, as you well know, that Hartford is the capital of Connecticut. They're fighting bankruptcies, just like Detroit. They're fighting not to go into bankruptcy, but we have so many pensions and health care for legislators and state workers that are generous, but other people are suffering in Connecticut. Take an example, one of our senators, they get full, well, I shouldn't say free, but they get nearly zero premium in their insurance. So they're trying to raise the taxes in Connecticut, but you got these, one of our state senators is the seventh richest senators. Well, he's the seventh richest legislators in the federal government, but he got free insurance.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the state taxpayers are paying for that, but they're asking us to pay more taxes.
So they can continue living good. The other thing that you need to look out for is Republicans pretending to be Democrats. We have that. We have that here, and poster boy for it was a guy who lived in a suburban city. He ran as a Republican, could not get elected, so he decided to trick the residents and pretended to be a Democrat, and they elected him. As soon as the Republican governor was elected, he quit. And he went to Lansing, the capital, and became the treasurer for the whole state of Michigan. So beware of Republicans pretending to be Democrats, because they will undermine you.
And the last thing is that we're having corporations in this state flying out of our state because of corporate taxes. So we have Rick Scott from the governor of Florida come up here trying to recruit corporations to move down to Florida. We already lost Aetna. We already lost General Electric. And these corporations are flying out of Connecticut because of the high taxes.
Wow.
And you remember the vice president, his name Pence. He was trying to, before he became a vice president as the governor of Indiana, he was trying to recruit corporations to leave Connecticut into Indiana. So now you have New York, yet all these states coming, their representatives coming from these states and trying to raid the jobs in Connecticut. You know?
Wow. No, that's really interesting.
So there's a lot of things going on in this state.
Well, I'm glad you called to share that with us, particularly the fact that they're talking about going bankrupt. So I guess Detroit was the trial.
One thing I'd like to add to what you said, and I find it interesting as well, is that the fact that General Electric and other corporate entities are looking to relocate. The thought that comes to mind for me is that I'm sure the CEOs' pay isn't hurting, and some of the people in the higher administration, but I'm sure that the people who are down there on the ground in the field, so to speak, working, don't get it. So if the taxes are high, I'm sure that the administration there in those corporate entities are not looking to try to balance things out so that they can stay there. They're still looking at their bottom line interests. I'm not going to lose.
That's the whole truth right there. I'm glad that your analytical skills are so formidable, because the state has given them tax abatements and all kinds of freebies. I guess Ralph Nader would call it corporate welfare, and they still leaving. And they're leaving to this whole area is high tax. New York is high tax. Massachusetts is high tax. Rhode Island, everything, New Jersey, everything around here is high tax. And they're going to the surrounding states. So they're saying that they're being taxed to death. You're going right into a more area that have just as high or more than Connecticut. So they're lying.
Wow.
They're just trying to meet their shareholders and deceive pay. Yeah. Because they just opened up a new General Electric just opened up a new factory in Rhode Island, and you can't tell me Route 128 in Boston is not one of the most expensive areas in the whole United States. Are you going to leave a state that's allegedly so expensive and go to somewhere more expensive?
Go figure.
I'll just finish my point on this also, that I was looking at an interview that Charlie Rose did with the CEO of Alibaba, which is out of China, Jack Ma, and and the concept that he used, which has made his company formidable, is that he said the customers first, the employee is second, and the shareholders are third, because if you don't please the customers, then you can forget about everybody else down the line. But unfortunately, American corporate philosophy is shareholders first and everybody else get yours.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. We look forward to you calling in again next Monday.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye now.
Okay. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yes. Good morning, fellow patriots. Les and Channel 91.
Happy Monday, Les.
That was a very interesting report from Connecticut.
Yeah.
I wanted to address the Edgar Van, but, you were saying something, Theo, that, about the Republicans and Democrats, you can tell one from apart.
Address both. You're going to
being
address both.
The most unionized state in the country, to have the right to work law passed, that opened my eyes to how weak the unions are and the liberal philosophy. And the Democratic Party and the unions are one and the same, because they've always been the finances of the Democratic Party, where corporate has always been the finances of the Republican Party.
You're right. Well, Les, what it shows me is there are Republicans in the Democratic Party who did not press to make it clear to the voter that just because it said right to work, it didn't mean that the union was fighting for anybody's right to work. They did not do an adequate job of explaining that term. And people thought...
Which would
Many of them
lead me
thought
to
they were
believe
voting.
that, I worked 3 different union jobs in my career, Theo. I worked
Mm-hmm.
for SEIU, I worked with the UAW, and I worked for ASME.
Mm-hmm.
And every job that I got hired into, they never asked me was I Republican or conservative. So if you got hired in, you had a conservative philosophy, then you make it up to the top to the union. All you got to do is say nothing, which that's what's been happening. They don't say nothing to try to encourage the membership to obtain this liberal philosophy or liberal thought pattern in the union activities.
Right.
All they got to do is say silent, and that's what's been happening in the unions. They've been silent for a long time, Theo, when it comes to issues. When they took over the schools, did you hear anything from the unions?
No, and
You
I
didn't.
believe that a lot of them are Republican.
That's what I'm saying. You hit the hammer on the nail there, Theo, because a lot of the influx of workers have been conservative, and they have taken over the union. And all they got to do is say silent. Even the money that they showed, last year about the donations from the union have gone down to these political parties, and they never give black people no money
Right.
in the Democratic Party. So to me, they reap in conservatism in the union.
Right. And then the Democratic Party did not disseminate the money throughout the community to get the vote out either. So
And the
you
candidates
gotta
that they
wonder
picked
why they
throughout the Democratic Party, there's no way if you got good sense, you don't pick Deanna Wilcoxon as a city clerk, okay? It's a no-brainer. She's the best, brightest candidate in the race.
Agreed.
You're supposed to get
appears that
the
the
best. You want
less.
to build something, you get the best.
Right.
You know, when you plan on building a basketball team or a football team, you're going to get the superstar.
Yeah.
And when you're building a great country, you're supposed to have the superstars running your country.
It appears
And we ain't been having the superstars. We've been getting the scrubs.
Yeah, less.
And so, to me, Theo, we got the, you hit the hammer on the nail, and you keep harping. I'm glad to get from Connecticut call, because there's a problem across the country too. That this mixture of who to elect. This last election and what they had in Georgia, or I think it was Georgia, where they spent a lot of money to try to win, but they had the wrong candidate in the race.
Yeah, yeah. But here for the clerk's race, it appears that the challengers are appointees, are or have been. Have you thought about that?
No.
Okay.
But
Think about that.
like I said, when you building a team, and this supposed to be we all born on Team America. We all supposed to have the best on our team. If we want to win, we need to have the best on our team.
I agree.
You're supposed to have personalities aside, or friendships aside. You're supposed to get the best to run our city, especially in the voting process.
Right.
Well, you
That's
said
a key position in all elections across the country. If you don't have a key clerk in there that knows how, to gear up the vote and to count the votes properly, then this whole thing falls apart, because it's all about the vote.
You said something key also, Les, and I appreciate you saying it, because the caller from Connecticut kind of alluded to it too. The fact that you used the term personality, unfortunately, a lot of politics is personality driven, as opposed to, and I agree with you 100%, as opposed to having someone who is intellectually skilled, who has a track record, and who understands what needs to be done. People are just going for the fluff. It's almost like a Hollywood production a lot of times.
Yeah. It's wag the dog almost.
Yeah.
And I want, just before I leave, I want to address the event, because it's like
Sure.
Theo, there's something suspicious about a police officer, in the blackest city in America, a white police officer in downtown, felt comfortable about pulling his weapon
And having his finger on the
against
trigger.
a routine traffic stop. Something's wrong with that, and this should never happen in Detroit, of all places.
Well, you know what?
No black person should be shot down. Everybody should be treated with respect, because you don't know who's a prominent citizen in this city or not. Okay, for one thing, to have, and I'm not a fan of Mr. Bishop Vance. I'm not a fan of his. But still, he's still a prominent minister in our community, a prominent citizen. He is a citizen in America, and he deserved the respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
And to have this police officer, if he's not working in the on traffic duty somewhere, directing traffic, then that's an indictment on our chief of police.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Les, the community meeting is going to be in the Boys and Girls Club next month. But I attend quite a few police commission meetings. And when I attend them, I ask about the percentage of ethnic groups in the police department. And each time I ask that, it's really interesting. Oh, well, I'm not sure. I don't have that paperwork here, which that answer says to me that they're building up more whites in the police department. And I'm hearing that the majority now is white. And like I said, if there is a picture of Edgar Van in the police precinct or every precinct, it just seems to me that the white cops will look at it as a wanted sign.
And I just want to throw one more thing into the mix that you mentioned, Les, which was that the officer, when he exited his car, had his gun drawn. But you made the point about a routine traffic stop, and it makes me think about the young brother in Minnesota, Philando Castile. They were stopped because of a broken taillight or something like that. He ended up dead. So the whole idea that it's not like you were pursuing a criminal or you had some sort of a hot sheet for a car that was stolen or anything. This was a routine traffic stop. And to have your firearm out of the holster and in a position to shoot is very disturbing to me, because even at my age, and I've been through this all my life, and I know Les, you and many other brothers, we've been through this all our life, where when we see police, we're automatically intimidated, and we haven't done anything wrong, but that's a lot of stress on any individual to have to feel in fear of themselves when they see the police, as opposed to feel like they can be comfortable, and it's unacceptable.
Especially in the blackest city in America. You know what I mean? We don't supposed to have police officers pulling their guns on prominent black citizens. Like I say, a disclaimer, I'm not a fan of Vance, but still, he's still a citizen in our country, in this city. And he's supposed to deserve the respect from the police officers that he gets, that he's just paying his salary. He's paying his salary. And to have him draw his gun, and you, like you said, to be his hand on the trigger, come on.
Yeah, right.
It shouldn't be never happen. If he's not doing time on traffic duty for the next 10 years, then to send a message to any police officer that don't treat our citizens with respect, then the chief of police need to be,
they need to be reprimanded.
Well, maybe we don't need a chief that ain't going to take care of it.
The chief of police might be scared. But thank you for that input.
Okay, Theo, y'all have a great day. And I hope y'all keep up that, this conversation. Because, that Tabiti, when he said the Minnesota thing, I watched the police officer. He had his hand on the gun pretty much all the time he was at that traffic stop. It's almost like he really wanted to shoot somebody.
Right.
You notice that?
Yeah.
And then when Mr. Castile said, "Hey, I have a gun, and and I'm not going to touch the gun," and he still gets shot.
Yeah.
That's disturbing, and it should be disturbing to everybody. And every black police officer in this country is supposed to be speaking out against that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
This is Sly Soul, Sly Gold, watching y'all on TV, Comcast 91.
All right. Happy Monday.
Yeah. I just want people to understand the reality is that corporate greed controls the racist policies and the police. So they don't give a F about your services or your safety. All they care about is injecting more profits. And so if that means taking you down, taking you out, or fines and fees, that's what you got. And so we have to fight this ugly beast in the room. They have their own constitution called the Act of 1871. And if you look that up, you'll see why corporate greed is now showing its ruling its ugly head even more so, and getting away with it because they took our constitution and slammed it in the corner and maybe flushed it down the toilet. Because the way things, as you see, is going. And then you got your council people giving up $35.5 million worth of subsidies without a community agreement that would save people's homes and would save our schools and promote our education system to help us upmold and grow. They don't give a care no more because they've been bought and sold. Thank you for taking my call. I'm just so pissed off.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. It's Barbara. How are you?
We're doing wonderful. Happy Monday.
Hello?
Yes,
We hear you. Happy Monday.
Hey, okay. You keep going in and out. I'm sure it's my phone. I wanted to start out by asking, is Detroit Whole Foods included in the Amazon acquisition?
I would say yes. I believe they're buying the entire Whole Foods chain for like $15 billion or something like that. Yeah, but Amazon will control all of Whole Foods.
Wow, that's going to be interesting. Anyway, I wanted to start with the fact that Reverend Sharp and A.M. Joy on the weekend, their program is on MSNBC is always excellent. And yesterday was absolutely no different. I applaud the Black Caucus Democrats on the stand that they are taking regarding, they submitted a number of interests that they wanted to have meetings regarding at the White House. And they've never received any kind of response. And it was quite a lengthy document. And they were invited instead for what they say would amount to no more than a photo op.
The president told a reporter to set it up.
I'm sorry?
The president told the reporter, who was black, to set it up. And she attempted to do that and has been ignored. But go ahead.
Okay. You went out. I couldn't hear. You said he told them that he told the reporter that they won't set it up?
It was a black reporter. And the current president told her to set up the meeting, okay?
The series of meetings that the Black Caucus wanted to conduct. It's a series of meetings.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the president has been ignoring what he said, but
right,
that's
but
not unusual for him.
To now is because they've gotten no response to their request. They say we don't want to disappear for a photo op. So now they've started criticizing them, saying, "Oh, they're not responding and they're difficult to deal with." That's not true, and I applaud them for standing their ground and still not getting into the war of words with them regarding the stand that they've taken.
Right.
And the other thing was Reverend Sharpton, who always has his "I got you" category. Yesterday, changed it to "I praise you" regarding retired tennis pro James Blake. Did you all hear about that?
No. Share it with us.
You know, he was assaulted in 2015, and rather than go for a financial settlement, they have created a new category, and it's a legal fellowship program. And the person that is going to head that up it'll be at a 2-year stint at a time, and it's to assist the different citizens in Manhattan with their complaints against officers. And he's to be commended for that. You know, he started something that hopefully will begin to catch on. And the other thing is, I would really encourage those who can to check out the People's Summit on freespeechtv.org. You can go to it for the programming. Van Jones, Nina Turner, and Senator Bernie Sanders were some of the speakers, and they were dealing with the topic that your two people that I could hear previously, they were talking about they're really addressing that, and it's excellent, excellent. Check it out.
Okay.
Could you give that information again, please?
Sure. It was the People's Summit that was recently held in Chicago, and Free Speech TV is showing it. If you don't have Free Speech TV, go to freespeech.org, freespeechtv.org, and check it out there.
Okay.
But Van Jones, Nina Turner, and Senator Bernie Sanders were some of the speakers. And it's a no-holds-barred kind of conversation. That's what they do.
Oh, all right.
And the last thing I want to share, Representative Keith Ellison has been making his rounds talking about the programming that the Democrats are in the process of setting up and following. And you can check it out. And I'm sorry, your co-host, what's your name again? Co-host?
Thabiti.
Okay. You probably can, but he says what you do is dial 43367 and then text resist, and you can get an update on all the things that the Democrats, their programming that's on. You can check it out like that.
Well, text message. Okay. All righty.
Appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And the comments that your caller made regarding the incident, I hadn't heard about it. I'm glad to hear that. And I agree with everything he said in terms of knowing who the people are in your city. He'd know it if he was somewhere else. And this thing of just shooting our people. Yesterday, Reverend Sharpton did an excellent, and he had some guests on, and they were good, and so did Joy, regarding that very topic. This thing has gone too far, too long, and we're tired of it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Is it me?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm viewing you on my laptop in the car.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Two things. First of all, you have a great show, and I want to make sure that I comment about the fact that we have a city council meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and we need for our citizens to come down. This would be a great time to mention the situation with Edgar Van, police brutality, as well as the fact that our tax money as well as are going to the Pistons, and we need to make it be known and encourage our leaders to change their votes, not just Sheffield, but anyone that is a city council member that voted yes for the Pistons deal. And today, on Steve Hood, he discussed a large amount of money that is being taken away from Wayne County Community College. So we need to know that the money will come. They are taking the bond money away from both the Wayne County, the K-12 school system, as well as the library. And, of course, there was no community benefit agreement. I'm going to hang up because we have a horrible, horrible connection tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Arrive by 9:30 if possible. City Council at the Coleman Alexander Young Municipal Center, 2 Woodward Avenue. Please try to come. If you cannot make it, call your city council members to tell them to vote no, to change their vote. If they were not Jones or Lopez, they voted yes for this horrible Piston deal. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think people need to do both. They don't have to do one or the other. You can call all the council members this morning and attend the meeting tomorrow morning. Next.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Sure. Slice Soul calling back quickly. I wanted to let your audience know about the candidate forum coming up at the, what's the name of that place? Cathedral. on Warren and Woodward.
Yeah.
Sheila
St.
Cocker
Paul,
and Wayne
Barthol.
State, they're going to have the candidate forum for the council. I believe McAllister, Russ Bellott, and different people that's running for council.
Okay.
And that's about 5 p.m. over there at the Cathedral on Woodward and Warren.
It's Barth Hall. What time and
Barth
what day?
Hall.
What time of day?
5:30. You should get there early because it fills up real fast, and a lot of people have already reserved the seat.
What
But you
day?
can still get in
What
and voice your opinion and support whoever you're going to support.
What day?
It's coming up this Thursday.
Thursday, 5 p.m. Okay, Barth Hall.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, back to this issue of a black man, well dressed, being stopped by a police officer who pulled his gun out and had his finger on the trigger. A traffic stop, you know? Like we were saying earlier, prior to officers going out on the street, their equipment should be checked. Now, I have made that point at a police commissioners meeting before. And you always tell people when they tune in to have what ready?
Pen and paper handy, as I do, because I take notes also.
That's right. Well, the telephone number for the police commissioners is 596-1830. 596-1830. And hopefully somebody will answer the phone, and they will tell you that one meeting a month is held out in the community, and they can tell you where, time, and all of that. And the other meetings, seeing as how they meet every Thursday, unless it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, falling on a Thursday, they meet. And those meetings are held at 3 o'clock on the 3rd floor of the headquarters, which is on Michigan and 3rd, every Thursday. And you have an opportunity to attend those meetings as well. So I encourage you to attend and make your concerns known. The reason being is Edgar Van is not the only black man that this has happened to. It happens to our men in our community, it seems like on a very regular basis. But how many of them file complaints? How many of them go into the police station to file a complaint? And you really don't have to do that. The complaint really should be filed with the police commissioners. They need to keep track of what is going on within the city of Detroit as it relates to the disrespect of the residents in the city of Detroit or the visitors in the city of Detroit as far as that is concerned. There's one, he's retired now, police officer, lieutenant, who stated that his, I guess, fraternity or whatever organization he belongs to held their convention here in the city of Detroit. And they were disrespected whether they were driving or walking. So what it does is it serves to have the members of any organization that gets treated in that manner not to want to have a convention in Detroit anymore. It drives down the income for the city.
Harassment.
Yeah.
Caller as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? You're on the air.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm viewing you on Comcast 91.
Oh, thank you. Happy Monday. And
Happy Monday to you, too. Also, Billion Dollar Baby, and to your intelligent young co-host.
well, thank you, Commissioner. That's Bill. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that being at the police commission meeting, because I'm running for that, but also the fact that the commissioner had also indicated to us the fact that one of the first thing that young white officer asked him when he stopped him was this your car? Like a black man can't have a nice, expensive car.
I was waiting on that.
Is this your car?
is this your car?
Lord, okay.
Because, the bishop has a very nice car.
Uh-huh.
And, if any of us that worked over 30 years can afford nice cars.
Mm-hmm.
But, just because you're black should not mean that, you can't have a nice vehicle. That reminded me of a movie I seen where some white racists was in a black people's house, and they would say, oh, they got a piano. I don't have no piano. I mean,
that was Rosewood.
In this day and time.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. That was the movie Rosewood. I remember that well. That's the one thing that stood out about that is like then when he said I don't have a piano, his buddy said you can't play a piano.
Oh, Lord. Oh.
But those things still happen today.
Yes, that's so true. So true. And as you make that statement, it makes me consider the possibility that he was jealous.
Yes.
He's a black man in a nice car.
That was the first thing I thought about, a young white, new white officer. See a mature man, a mature black man driving the vehicle.
Right.
An expensive vehicle downtown. Stopping and making an incomplete, turn because the people was walking. People are frequently crossing downtown, and sometimes you can't complete your turn.
Right.
So, you just, if anybody got any sense, you normally don't stop somebody and give them a ticket for that.
Right. Well, but I do, as I hear you say that, think that perhaps it had something to do with jealousy, similar to that movie you all were talking about. So I'm just going to jack him up because I can't afford that. So let me get on his, why should he have one?
I appreciate you raising that.
And like you indicated earlier, a lot more and more of the new officers that's coming out now, the demographics are going back to what it was before Coleman. More and more of them are Caucasians from way out.
Oh, I'm hearing from my friends in the suburbs that the want ads are including jobs available in the city of Detroit for police officers. Isn't that special? Do we hear ads around here?
Some of these new police officers, and some of them are great young people, black and white, Hispanic, what have you, but some of them love the opportunity to come here where you make less money than a lot of other places, but they give them more authority.
So that may be a turn on. I can have a gun and I can jack up anybody I want to,
So if you got skinheads, alt-right, or Nazis, etc., this is a prime opportunity for them to be able to unleash their madness and their racism upon people, which may be their only agenda. As you said, the wages aren't compatible with outside suburban communities, so there has to be another agenda.
Well, two things. They could be followers of David
Duke,
Bill.
I think most of them are good, young people trying to get a good job, but some of them, I think, want the opportunity to be the black person or take advantage of a black person.
Right. They could be followers of David Duke. And the other thing is, we've heard
they
this
could be followers of 45.
Lord, help us.
Steve Bannon.
Oh, God. The other thing, Bill, is they come to Detroit for the training because the training is excellent, and then they wait their term. You see, in other cities, they don't have the number of police officers that Detroit has. Some of these small cities, Dearborn has got, let's see, last time I checked, 288 cops in Dearborn, if that many. So for the size of that city, that's a drop in the bucket. If they want to work, they have to wait for somebody to retire or whatever they do, to get a higher pay. Yep.
Right, because the city of Detroit right now is still subsidizing a lot of these communities around us by doing training. And then once some of these officers get the training, then they go someplace else.
Right, for higher pay. Yep.
For much higher pay and better benefits.
Right. So Bill Davis for police commissioner in the 7th district, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, $1 million baby. Okay. You are correct.
Well, thank you, darling. Thank you. Commissioner Davis, thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Yes, both of you young people have a good day today.
All right.
Thanks.
You too.
Hello, caller. You're
Okay.
on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yes, Tyrone, over the internet.
All right, Tyrone.
You know, I been watching this police thing for a long time. But
along with the
what's
rest of us.
fascinating to me, I've seen them knowing that majority of the people in Detroit cannot afford the criminal insurance rates. So they know that majority of people don't have insurance. So they said, okay, when they come on Belle Isle, we're going to check it and take their cars.
Mm-hmm.
I looked on Jefferson. I sit down there. They used to have a restaurant there. I forgot the name of it. And I seen them
Enjoy.
just stop cars, and the wrecker would come and pick up the car.
Mm-hmm.
They would, and the person who had the car would just walk. They would let them walk away, but they take their car. So when I seen that, it reminded me when I read about when they was moving the Indians out from down south. When the Indians come up with their horses, they would, from the young Indians, they would take them horses from them, put them on foot. And that was a part of the ethnic cleansing, moving the Indians out. I think I'm saying the same identical thing.
Yep.
And it seems like we all are saying it, but we are griping. And when I look at police commissioners, the police commissioners really don't have no power to stop it, because you got a private police, I understand, by Dan Gilbert. So it looks to me that we should look at our history. And our history told me, once Bill Connors was whooping head down in Birmingham and had them dogs and hoses on the people continue to fill the streets up and the jails up till the jails couldn't hold no more. And the streets were so filled up, production and commerce stopped. The business sector said, put Bill Connors out of the street, put him back in the police station. He was the police chief. Take them dogs, put them in the kennel. And because we are losing business. When the people forget its history, they are doomed to make the same mistake again. And we dishonor the method that was found, how to stop police shooting, and we still going in and complaining. I just want to say that. So whatever it's worth,
all right.
Maybe somebody might listen.
Right. Thank you for that input. Thank you, Tyrone.
And I'll just say I'm listening to Tyrone because I've done a little study of him too. And unfortunately, and then we'll go to the next caller, is that when I was coming up as a youth in the 60s, I do remember it was always a thing that black man was not supposed to be able to drive a nice car. Here we are 50 years later, and you're still not supposed to drive a nice car. It's just tragic.
It is, but you know, even as he mentioned, ethnic cleansing, gentrification, or Negro removal. Anyway, in England, they had the same thing when they dumped the mentally insane and challenged and the criminal element out of England and sent them all over here to America.
They sent their garbage and we're stuck with some of it.
Yes, Lord, okay. 45. Yes.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Tabini, this is Les calling back. I want to correct you on your movie. It wasn't Rosewood. It was Ragtime, and that was Colehouse Walker Jr. with Howard Rollins. When he had the fancy car, he played the piano.
Okay.
Because I don't remember that scene in Rosewood, but I do recall that because I still remember that scene to this day. I think about it, how he, dumped crap into his new automobile, and he said, "Oh, I can't afford it. How is it in afford a nice, car like this?" So that's for people that want to watch Rosewood to see that scene. No, that's Ragtime.
Ragtime.
With
okay.
Howard Rollins Jr.
All right. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Thanks, Les. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Could you give us your name, how you're viewing us, and a brief comment or statement?
Yeah. This is Don, and I'm watching on TV 91 on Comcast.
Oh, thanks for calling, Don. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to echo what the previous caller before Les had mentioned about, us knowing our history.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to discover a real deep insight into how repetitive this is, study A. Philip Randolph.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know about him and the Pullman Porters, but what they did was change the course of unionization in America.
Right.
And it led to the civil rights and the ability of middle class, black middle class being established. But all that's being hidden away for some reason, and we have to start asking ourselves, why do we never consistently hear enough about, African and African American history?
Mm-hmm. Well, the network UIN has a lot of that history on it. The Urban Information Network, and that's a place for people to learn a lot more. And trying to think of this gentleman's name, Charles is going to be at the Museum of African American History, because this is the 50th year that we had the rebellion here in the city of Detroit, and they're going to have a series of events that people can go and attend. But if you can't physically go and attend, you can always go to the Urban Information Network and review a lot of the Black history that Don is referring to. I'm at the end of the program now. Is there a last sentence you want to say?
I'm sorry, it's off.
Oh, he's off? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, as we say at the end of our show, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We encourage you to join Hood Research as we collect as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions. We have a website, hoodresearch.org, and the phone number is 248-234-2371. That's 248-234-2371. Thabiti?
If you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you finish. Make sure you're registered to vote also.
All right. Tune in again next week. And now, here comes
Marley B. Get in the know. Stay tuned.